All right, guys, today I'm going to do a video on how to remove your motor and transmission from a F-body. Here I have a 2002 Camaro, Catfish Camaro, V6 automatic. Figured better do a video late than never because a lot of people are going to have questions on how this got done. Super simple. So obviously, if you're planning on removing your motor and transmission, you have already done most of this. Remove all your hoses, radiator, dump your radiator fluid. Here's the hoses for that. Unhook the battery, simple stuff. This computer was tucked up in that corner. A couple wire harnesses, one going to your firewall. Super simple. You just pop your kick panel out, pop the two wires out. Super self-explanatory. If you can't get past that part, you probably shouldn't be doing this job. So once you have your harness flipped over with your wires tucked, take your AC heater hoses out, or whatever the hell they're called. So here's where you start paying attention. All right, you have to remove your brake booster to get to your Torx head bolts for the struts. I just went ahead and removed these from the ABS pump. Bam. Set this aside. You're gonna remove your steering column because that's connected to your steering rack, which is gonna come out with the motor. Remove your exhaust. As you can see there, I removed the exhaust. Sitting over here. As for the rear, remove your drive shaft. And also you're gonna remove the single bolt holding the torque arm to the transmission. Very simple stuff. It's just one bolt, self-explanatory. So once you have all that unhooked, you're gonna wanna remove the two bolts on each side of the sway bar. Bam, bam. Pop those out, put them somewhere safe. And you're gonna have 3 bolts on each side of the K-member. So 3 on this side, 3 on that side. I'll show you now where they're at. That's one of them. That's one of them. And the third one is right in that hole on the A-arm. You could see it clear as day once you're under the car if you're doing this job again. And then, so there's 3 things holding your motor and transmission to the car. 6 bolts of the K-member, 3 on each side. 4 bolts on each side of the strut, and then the 4 bolts holding your transmission brace on, which is 2 here, 2 on the other side. What I did to simplify everything, I put a pallet under the transmission and motor. I just so happen to have this perfectly sized pallet. Next step is I grabbed my breaker bar and just loosened the 4 transmission brace bolts, the 3 on each side of the K-member. I just loosened them just so it's easier to hit with the impact. And then I slid this pallet under here. Didn't need to lift the car up or anything. And what I'm gonna do next is take the 4 bolts for the transmission brace off, and hopefully the transmission will drop onto the pallet. And then after that's said and done, I will remove the 6 bolts for the K-member. So that's under the car is completely loosened up to take the motor and trans out. The last thing I'll need to do is remove these 8 bolts, 4 on this side and 4 on that side, to remove the struts out of the car. And at that point, the motor and transmission should be completely detached from the car. And then I'm going to build this jig out of wood, just whatever, 2x4s, around the car, and hook a strap up to my bumper support. And I bought this wrench puller, come along is what they call it, from Harbor Freight for $19, that I'm just gonna set onto the piece of wood with 2 straps, 1 on each side of the bumper support, and then just lift the car up as high as I possibly can. And I'm literally gonna drag the pallet with the motor, transmission, strut, steering rack, all that, wheels, everything, spindles connected with the ATV. I'm just gonna yank it out. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I had the hardest time just removing these fuel lines. I ended up cutting them off because I'm going to run a fuel cell, so it doesn't really matter for me. And, oh, very important, you need to remove the 2 brake lines that are connected to the front of the car. So you can see the 2 brake lines run here for the left and right. That's going to come with the motor and transmission, going to drop out. And yeah, it's pretty simple. If you have any questions, just feel free to comment or hit me up. I'll be more than welcome to answer them. I'm putting a 6-liter LQ4 in here that my buddy Daniel is giving me with a big turbo. Strip the inside out. Just super simple stuff. I mean, I did this in a couple days, and I'm not a professional mechanic or anything. But yeah, quick overview is just the 6 K-member bolts. Remove the drive shaft, brake lines, brake booster, so you can get to these bolts. Remove you got to take the torque arm off the transmission, which is one single 15mm bolt, super easy. Remove the sway bar, 4 bolts, and then your heater hoses, your wires, your wire harnesses. Took me 10 minutes, literally. Your battery, stuff like that. Your power steering lines also, I just took everything off. And yeah, super simple stuff. All right, guys, sorry I didn't take a million videos like I was supposed to, I guess, but I built this jig in like 15-20 minutes. Removed the 6 bolts of the cross member, or the K member, sorry. 4 strut bolts, the 4 transmission brace member bolts. Popped out in the transmission fillet just like I wanted it to. Popped the shifter linkage or whatever. Just ripped it out of here. And just like that, lifted the car up. This is super easy way of doing it. Oh, almost broke an ankle. This is a super easy way of doing it. Just like that, the motor, transmission, everything is separated. Now time for the fun part. Time to yank that out of the bottom of the car, which I don't really know how I'm gonna do. Maybe with the ATV, but we'll see. But yeah, super simple. Was not as hard as I anticipated it to be. All right, so now that I slid the jig forward with the motor, disconnected the power steering lines, which was a 15 and a 19, I think, and literally just 2 bolts, one there for the motor mount and the other bolt there for the motor mount. The biggest pain in the ass is I had to take this AC compressor out to get the motor mount bolt out. So yeah, that was kind of a biatch, but didn't take too long, wasn't too bad. There's a car completely empty, ready for step 2 of the process, putting all this back together, ordering a BMR tubular K-member, swapping that on over whenever I get time, and then throwing the 6-liter LQ4 in this thing. Then the real fun begins of trying to hose everything up, wire everything out, make sure everything runs perfect. But yeah, super excited with the progress so far, honestly. All right, so this system was not tall enough to put in the back of my truck, as you can see. So this is where I'm gonna leave it for the day. Separating the 2 were easy. Like I said, the hardest part was this AC pump, no doubt about it, which just took 15 minutes of some thinking, but it was not bad at all. There's 1 bolt in the back here tucked up, and then 1, 2, and 3 bolts holding it on in the front. Super easy stuff. Oh, and then the 2 condenser hoses, I think is what they're called, which you can get to without. That's the first thing I did. And oh, actually I had to remove the hoses to remove this bolt because the hoses were kind of like that in the way. So I removed this, took the hoses out, popped right out, and then I took this bolt, those 3 in the front out, slid this out of the way, just like that. And then I could remove this motor mount bolt. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Everything's pretty much in pieces. It looks like Lego parts right now. And so tomorrow I'm going to, by the way, if you're wondering, this, like, you could move with your hand. It's not that hard to move this. I did it all alone. Tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and put this under the car. Hopefully bolt everything back up how it was before. And just so I can have the car as a roller. And I try to plug up the brake lines as much as I could, which I'm not sure if that's the right way to do it or not. I'm kind of worried about these just hanging out here, but worst comes to worst, I could just replace brake lines or whatnot. It's the least of my worries as of now. I tied these mud flaps up just so it could slide under the car easier, the spindles, or the struts, sorry. But yeah, that's where we're at for the day. And tomorrow is a new day. I'm gonna go ahead and put the front bumper on, or clip, whatever you want to call it. Just lay the hood on there so all this is covered up for the night in case it rains, even though it probably isn't. And then, yeah, not really sure what to do from here on. Probably order the K-member next, get all that swapped. In theory, I should have just ordered the K-member now so I can just bolt up the K-member and swap all this, but I honestly don't have the time nor money for that right now. So this is just a couple days that I had to mess around with this stuff. This is the AC hose that I removed that I told you guys about. It was in the way, so just pop that off. But yeah, if you have any questions at all, just let me know. I'll post a video just for you. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, and I will answer them. If you want a free motor, or actually $200, motor and transmission on a pallet, come get it. Southern Oregon, it's yours. Just fuck it, free motor. I don't even care. I want it gone. I have nothing to do with it, and it's in the way. As of now, it's really in the way. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. And that's the progress. So this is part 1 of the Catfish Camaro build. Don't have a name for it. Don't really know what I'm going to call this car. Maybe Cletus has Ruby. This is going to be Ruben the Catfish. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm sure some of you guys will have questions. Just hit me up. Comment, like, subscribe. Do your thing.